Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission is pretty straightforward. We want to be your shortcut to understanding the really big ideas out there.
We take these dense, important conversations and boil them down for you, give you the core takeaways.
Quickly but thoroughly.
Exactly. And today, we're diving right into the heart of, well, maybe the biggest technological shift happening right now.
We're looking at AI, specifically through a major conversation with Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI.
Yeah, and this isn't just about, cool new features. It's about the future he's actually trying to build, like right now.
So think of this as a little time travel trip with us. We want you, the listener, to really grasp this huge change. Our sources are calling it the highest stakes global race.
And race is the key word there. The speed is just incredible.
It really is. Just a few years ago, honestly, the stuff we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
Pure science fiction.
Completely. But it's real now, and it's accelerating.
Okay, so where do we start? The big new thing, GPT-5. This seems like the natural starting point to understand just how fast things are moving.
Right. And to get a sense of that speed, think about GPT-4. Not long ago, people were amazed by it.
Absolutely.
But Altman mentioned recently that GPT-4 is probably the dumbest model any of us will ever have to use again.
Wow. Okay. That one quote kind of says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because GPT-4 wasn't dumb at all.
Not even close.
Our sources pointed out, it already scored better than 90% of humans on big tests, like the SAT for college, the LSAT for law school.
The GRE for grad school, yeah. It could even pass, medical licensing exams, sommeliers, wine experts.
Yeah. So it was already incredibly capable. So if that's the dumbest we'll ever use, what does GPT-5 bring to the table?
Well, according to Altman, the big leap is this. GPT-5 is the first model where you can ask it pretty much any hard scientific or technical question and get a pretty good answer.
Okay, so it's moving beyond just knowing facts, like a student, and more into almost like a research assistant or a collaborator.
Something like that. It can reason and explain complex things much better.
Can you give us an example? Something concrete.
Yeah, sure. So Altman tested its creative power. He asked it to make a snake game. You know the old game on calculators?
Oh, yeah, the TI-83. Classic.
Yeah, exactly that one. He asked GPT-5 to create it from scratch, and it did, perfectly, in about 7 seconds.
7 seconds for a whole working game.
7 seconds. But here's the really wild part. It wasn't just making the game.
Okay.
He could then just tell it, hey, add this feature, or what if the snake did this? And it would instantly update the code and implement these, crazy new ideas he was just throwing out there.
Whoa, no coding required on his part. Just talking.
Just talking. So the core idea here, the big takeaway for GPT-5, is it enables on-demand, almost instantaneous software creation.
Right. That capability, turning an idea into working software, just like that really didn't exist with GPT-4, did it?
Not like this. Not instantly. If you're someone who builds software, this changes everything. It's not just faster, it's a whole different way of working.
Which brings up a really interesting point, maybe attention. If creating stuff becomes instant, what happens to, the human effort?
Yeah.
The hard thinking?
That's a great question. Researchers talk about this idea of cognitive time under tension. Meaning that struggle, the focus, the hours you put in to solve a really tough problem or write something truly original, that mental heavy lifting.
Okay, right.
Building these AI models took enormous amounts of that cognitive time under tension, huge effort. But now that the tools exist, are we going to use them as an escape hatch for thinking to avoid the struggle?
Or the alternative.
Or will we use them as a launch pad to think bigger thoughts, tackle even harder problems because the AI handles the grunt work?
And where does Altman land on that?
He seems pretty optimistic. He leans towards the launch pad idea. He thinks it lets people stretch their brain, do much more ambitious things.
Okay, that's the positive view. But there's another side, right? The job displacement worry.
Oh, definitely. And it's serious. Some experts are predicting that maybe in just 5 years, almost half of the entry-level white-collar jobs.
Like data entry, basic analysis.
Exactly. Those kinds of roles could be replaced by AI.
Half. That's a huge number. It sounds pretty scary.
It does. But then Altman completely flips that narrative. He actually says a 22-year-old graduating college today, they are the luckiest kid in all of history.
Luckiest. How does he figure that?
Because of the tools they have access to. He believes one person, right out of college, can now potentially start a company, build amazing products, and reach a global audience. Maybe even build something worth more than $1 billion.
One person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something that used to take, huge amounts of money and teams of hundreds of people. This AI gives individuals incredible leverage, like superpowers for entrepreneurs.
So it massively changes the scale of what one person or a very small team can achieve. Okay, if that's the power of GPT-5, let's look even further ahead. What about this idea of superintelligence?
Right. Superintelligence. That's kind of the ultimate goal for some in AI research.
Yeah.
And the definition Altman uses is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing.
Lay it on us.
Superintelligence would be a system that could do better AI research than the entire OpenAI research team, all of them combined.
Better than the experts who built it.
Yes. And at the same time, it could also do a better job running the company, OpenAI, than Sam Altman himself.
Wow, okay. That's a high bar. Better researcher than the whole team, better CEO than the CEO.
A very high bar. And here's the kicker. The prediction for when AI might reach the point of making a significant scientific discovery completely on its own is maybe late 2027.
2027, that's incredibly soon. Like 3 years away.
It's an aggressive timeline for sure, much sooner than most people would guess.
How do we even get there that fast? What's the path?
Well, look at math as an example of the acceleration. A little while ago, AI was solving, high school math problems. Pretty good, but not groundbreaking.
Okay.
Now, AI has achieved gold medal level performance at the IMO, the International Math Olympiad.
And those IMO problems are famously difficult, right? Takes top human mathematicians hours per problem.
Yeah, like 1.5 hours per problem typically. Requires deep, creative mathematical thinking. So AI went from high school math to that level really fast.
So what's the next step towards scientific discovery?
The next big challenge is what they call 1,000-hour tasks. Problems that would take a dedicated team of human researchers maybe 1,000 hours to crack.
If AI can start solving those kinds of problems independently,
then we're basically knocking on the door of superintelligence. Autonomous discovery, that's the speed we're dealing with.
Okay, so as these systems get smarter and more woven into our lives,
Right.
we need to talk about reality and truth.
Yeah, this came up in the context of a question from NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang. He made this really useful distinction between facts and truth.
How so?
Facts are objective. They just are. Like, the sky is blue. But truth can be more personal, right? It depends on your culture, your values, your perspective.
Okay, I see. So can a single AI understand truth for everyone if it's so personal?
That's the tricky part. But Altman mentioned being surprised at how good AI is becoming at adapting to different cultures and even to individuals.
How does it do that?
A big part of it is memory. Giving the AI better memory so it learns about you over time, your background, your experiences, what you care about. It starts to feel very personalized.
Personalized how? Like remembering my preferences.
Deeper than that, even. Altman told a story about a friend who had his personal ChatGPT take personality tests. The same ones the friend had taken.
Okay.
The AI scored exactly the same as the friend did on those tests.
Wait, really? Exactly the same personality profile?
Apparently so, which shows this deep, emergent understanding of the user's personality just from conversations, without being explicitly told, act like this person.
Huh. That's kind of amazing, but also maybe a little unsettling. Does it just become a perfect mirror, an echo chamber?
That's the huge question, isn't it? How do we make sure these tools challenge us, not just reflect us? And it ties into this whole idea of reality.
Right. Let's do that time travel trip you mentioned. Fast forward to, say, 2030.
Okay, 2030. Think about that AI video that went viral recently. The bunnies jumping on a trampoline.
Oh, yeah, the Sora video. It looked completely real, but it was totally AI generated.
Exactly. So in 2030, picture a teenager scrolling through their feed. The AI-generated stuff is going to be everywhere, and it's going to be flawless. How do they know what's real and what's not real?
That's a tough one. When the fakes are indistinguishable from reality.
Well, the perspective from the source material is society will adapt. We kind of already have been, haven't we?
How do you mean?
Think about your phone's camera. It automatically processes photos, makes them look better than reality often, or social media filters. Everyone uses them.
And it's true. We're used to seeing enhanced or altered images already.
So the idea is that this line between real and fake has been blurring for a while. Society adjusts, and the threshold for how real does it have to be to consider to be real will just keep moving.
So kids growing up in 2030 will just have a different baseline, a higher tolerance for or maybe a better detector for fakeness.
Pretty much. They'll grow up in that environment, so their calibration for what counts as real enough will likely be different from ours.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit, talk practicalities.
Like, how do we actually build this stuff? What's holding things back, if anything? Yeah. Altman outlined 4 main limiting factors right now in building ever more powerful AI.
Okay, number one.
Number 1 is compute. Basically, the sheer amount of computer processing power needed. Building the data centers for this is described as possibly the biggest infrastructure project in human history.
Wow. And what's the bottleneck within compute?
Energy, mostly. Finding enough power, gigawatts of it, to run these things, and scaling up the hardware, the specialized chips called GPUs, from millions to billions of them.
Okay, compute. What's number 2?
Number 2 is data. Here's the problem. The models are getting so smart, they've basically learned almost everything available in existing text and images on the internet.
They've run out of stuff to learn from.
Sort of. To get smarter, they need to move beyond just pattern recognition. They need to start helping us discover new things, knowledge that doesn't exist in any data set yet.
So they need to learn how to do science, like hypothesize, experiment.
Exactly. Learning how humans generate new knowledge, that's
Yeah.
a huge challenge.
Makes sense. Number 3.
Algorithmic design. This is about finding smarter ways to teach the models, more efficient ways to structure their learning. How do you make them learn better and faster with the compute and data you have?
Any examples of progress there?
Yes, a big recent one mentioned is something called GPO-SS. It's apparently a model that's about as smart as GPT-4 Mini,
Okay.
but it can run locally on just a regular laptop, not needing a giant data center.
Whoa. As smart as GPT-4 Mini, but on my laptop. How's that possible?
Big improvements in the algorithm's smarter design, and that's huge, right? It means powerful AI could become much cheaper, more private, faster, and accessible to way more people.
Yeah, that could completely change who gets to use powerful AI. Democratizes it, almost.
Hmm.
Okay, and the 4th limiting factor.
The 4th one is products. You can have all the scientific breakthroughs you want, but it doesn't matter much unless you get that progress into the hands of people. You need usable tools and applications so society can actually benefit and adapt alongside the technology.
Right, the tech needs to meet the real world.
And that transition period we're in, it's going to be bumpy. The sources really emphasize that society needs an unusual degree of humility to navigate this.
Humility, meaning don't panic, don't resist, be open to immense change.
Something like that. Acknowledging how big and fast this is and trying to manage it thoughtfully.
So how do we manage it? Any suggestions there?
One key idea Altman proposes is making AI compute that processing power we talked about as abundant and cheap as possible.
Flood the market with it.
The thinking is, if compute becomes incredibly cheap and plentiful, society will innovate like crazy. We'll find amazing uses for it. Eventually, maybe we'll even run out of good new ideas to really use it for, simply because the supply is so vast it helps drive adoption and adaptation.
Interesting. Make it so cheap and easy, everyone used it for everything.
That seems to be the strategy. And this leads to the final request, or the ask for the public.
Okay.
The role of the AI companies, like OpenAI, is seen as building the fundamental infrastructure. The scaffolding, you could say, like the transistor was for computing.
They build the platform.
Right. But the public's responsibility, our responsibility, is to build on it, to take this incredibly powerful new capability and figure out what amazing things we can create with it. Don't just be passive consumers.
Be creators, be builders, use the scaffolding.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
From GPT-5 writing code in seconds, to the potential for superintelligence by 2027, to the blurring lines of reality.
It's a whirlwind. The speed is the main thing. It's just relentless.
It really is.
And maybe we can leave you, the listener, with one final thought to chew on. Something quite provocative.
Go for it.
A child born today will never be smarter than AI, ever.
Never. Smarter than AI.
Think about it. From the moment they're born, AI capability will likely be accelerating past human cognitive limits. This generation and all future generations will only know a world where technology evolves at this incredible speed. A speed that feels, frankly, vertigo-inducing to us adults now.
It's a profound thought. A world where baseline intelligence is always machine-augmented or surpassed.
Yeah. So faced with that future, what's the practical takeaway? What's the advice?
Well, based on everything we've discussed, the number one piece of advice seems pretty clear, actually.
What's that?
Just use the tools.
Who told us that?
Get hands-on. Play with them. Figure out what ChatGPT or whatever comes next can do in your own work, your own life. Get fluent with the capabilities.
Because that's how you learn to adapt. That's how you learn to build on that scaffolding they're creating for us.
Couldn't agree more. Use the tools. Start now.